It's a duty on the believer, to seek knowledge, It's a duty when you surrender, to seek knowledge, to seek knowledge, to seek knowledge. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اطلبوا العلم من المهد إلى اللاح، اطلبوا العلم من المهد إلى اللاح، اطلبوا العلم، اطلبوا العلم، اطلبوا العلم من المهد إلى اللاح. From the cradle to the grave, seek knowledge.
We have some questions, and there's quite a lot of questions that have come through. So what we'll do, we'll take probably 2 3 questions on the floor. What we'll try to see how many of these we can go within the time allocated. Okay, and if there's any more time, we'll extend that session if possible. The first one, and we've done this SMYLe. And this is more or less talking about the parents' role, really. You talked about wanting to stay close to those who are cheerful. I find that often our families that we spend most of our time with fail to create a cheerful, nurturing and encouraging environment. How can we, the youth, how to change our family environment so that it is one which is cheerful, nurturing, encouraging, etc. In addition to that, this is not only very similar to that. There are many parents in the room who have children and grown-up children. Some are with them, some are without. Just the need to reinforce the need for parents to first of all listen to children and to respect their opinion and to encourage and support them. After all, children are our future.
As a parent, 2 children, a 7.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, as a parent, it's very important to try and create that, fun environment, where they feel, proud to be, and I've seen this more and more times gone by, more and more proud to be British, but more and more proud to be, Islam and a British Muslim as well. And we need to give them the opportunities where they can enjoy themselves. There's always an extreme in any society that, if you look in Pakistan or the Middle East or America, all the fun, the music, the games, the dance, the rap, etc., is all associated with, those that aren't practicing Islam. And then you have the study circles and, the picnics and everything associated with those that are practicing Muslims. And there's never something that's in between that can really appeal to modern day young people in this country. And we have to find that alternative. And even now, there still isn't enough credible, entertainment out there to appeal to young Muslims, and that's something that you can maybe take on in the future by looking at, the role of computers, internet, the whole role of entertainment as well. Because unless we do that, we're not going to really appeal to our young people. And again, in terms of creating the environment in our homes, that's something that's, I think, quite historical in our culture, in terms of, the whole negativity and not trying to give that positive environment where we allow our young people to flourish. And I think that has to change, but I think it's about really communicating with our young people, really understanding what's happening in the society at the moment. I'm originally from Bradford, and when I look at, young people and their parents, young girls are going out and they're taking drugs and doing all of that, and the parents aren't speaking to them about those issues. They know those issues exist, but they're not in tune or really trying to speak to young people about those issues. And I think we really have to, as parents, educate ourselves about our society and fundamentally, how would we, tackle some of the real contemporary issues that our young people are facing. And I say this to parents as well, in future years, if your children, come out and say they're gay, how are we going to respond to those? And to be honest, we haven't got answers at the moment. And if we as Muslims can't deal with these issues now, how are we going to deal with them? That young people are really facing them at the moment.
How do you think they should deal with this? I.e., it's not cool to be religious.
Which is about creating a family environment that is cheerful and full of of happiness, is bliss as much as possible. I think there is a very big danger in which we make ourselves very vulnerable by not creating a happy environment at home. No matter what happens in our lives, to do with job, house, this should not be a reason for bringing misery on the children. I mean, like SMYLe, I'm also a young parent myself. I've only got one little daughter who is now 20 months old. But my cheerfulness is directly reflected on her. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not smiling at her. She'll stand there looking at me, wanting me to smile, making all sorts of faces without a smile. Or she'll come and tickle me, saying, "Daddy, tickle." Could you laugh? In other words, already they're predisposed to cheerful faces as friendly. Already they're predisposed to happy faces as friendly. Already children know who their friends are and who their friends are not. So if you are not going to demonstrate cheerfulness, smile at them, love them as much as possible, how would you expect them to grow up, be cheerful and loving later on? It's something that we need to really think about. The other problem we face in our communities is that we don't tell our children that we love them. It's almost a taboo thing to say to our child, "Today I love you." What? How can I say that? Or children to turn around and say that to their parents. "Mom, Dad, I actually love you." Well, I know you do. The dad says, "I'm doing." "Well, no, Dad." Turn around and say, "Son, thank you very much. That was very nice. But heartwarming to know you love me so much. I love you too." Not just saying, "Okay, good, thank you, get lost." No. These are expressions that you are used to in the countries of parents' origin. But that's not the expression that we are used to in this country. In this country, it's a reciprocated relationship. If I love somebody, I will tell them that I love them. I don't have to say that in return. Don't just dismiss me. So, expressing love by saying you love them, being cheerful facially by your behavior, and most importantly, by giving them reasonable encouragement rather than constantly discouraging them, is never good enough. Some parents will always criticize their children. It's never good enough, no matter what you do. Somebody said to me, "I can never please my mother, I can never please my father." That's so sad. Why are your parents so miserable that they are never pleased? I say to Allah, I say to you, I say, of course, make dua to Allah, Ya Allah, please help. Parents, your children, if they do something good, encourage them more than you discourage. Criticize them less, but give them more positive feedback. Be a good counselor and a friend, rather than be an enemy and a block who they can't go, who they cannot even go anywhere near but stay miles away. Parents should not be like that. Now, peer pressure. Of course we have peer pressure. Inevitably you will have peer pressure. It's the peer pressure that makes young people smoke. It's peer pressure that makes young people experiment with drugs. It's peer pressure that makes young people do things that they wouldn't do otherwise. It's very important for parents to be involved in it. Peer pressure means you have a friend who says, "Hey, come along, let's go and try some cigarette." What's wrong with that? Well, let's try a little bit of a split. So, a bit of a buzz for a few seconds. Everyone else is trying, why can't we? That's peer pressure. You don't have to be swayed by peer pressure. While I say that, it's not easy. Boys have a particular style of peer pressure, girls have another style of peer pressure. Both of them are peer pressure. Unless you look the type, unless you're slim and slender and of a particular shape and size, girls are obsessed by dieting nowadays. As young as 6, 7, they start dieting. "Why are you dieting?" "I'm too fat." "Why? I can't see any." "Well, I'm too fat." "My friend says I'm too fat." I look at the mirror and I can see myself fat. "Really? You should change your glasses." Until today, and I pray to Allah that I'll never do it. I have never picked up a cigarette to try. Never. I've been to the schools in this country. I've had friends of all kinds. Never even tried a cigarette. Why should I? I have confidence to say to them, "That's disgusting, I don't want to try." How does it come about? I wasn't born with it. My parents helped me to gain more. My parents gave me positive feedback, encouraged me to be more stronger. So it's all about that from the day one, the moment they're born. Give them positive feedback. I'm going to digress a bit. Our children, they often at home get fed on demand. The child cries, you give them food. Cries for food, you just put a dummy in his mouth. What kind of a language are you giving to this child? The moment you cry, I'm going to give you something. Of course the child is going to be forever growing up, needing attention. You tell your child, "No, we're not going to have a dummy now." Because when our first child, of course, so we were learning lots and lots of things. When she was about 3 months old, when she was born, she was suffering from colic. So the doctor said, bring it, get a dummy. It will help. So we did. 3 months later, I said to my wife, no more. This can't be natural. Take the dummy out. Let's do it. It took us 3 days of continuous crying from her. But 3 days later, she forgot about it. What dummy? She doesn't even know about it. I often see children who are almost 5, 6 walking around with dummies. You know, this demonstrates inability on the part of our parents. And this will carry with them when they grow up. They will have, I'm not saying dummy only, there are lots of other things. Confidence comes from families and parents, and you meet them at the early age, later on peer pressure will not be as bad. And if you are not there to listen to your children, if you're not there to exchange with them how their day was, if you're not there to hear their fun and game and join with them, of course they will fall victims and they'll find somewhere else to go and have fun. Of course they will. Oh, my father, he doesn't want to play with me, so I'm going to go play with something. So brothers and sisters, peer pressure is only an alternative for children. Peers are only alternative for children. If they find it at home, they will not be looking for their alternative. Give them what they need at home, and inshallah peer pressure will reduce. But it will remain because that's how the society is. So we will equip our children with sufficient tools and knowledge so that they can deal with it.
The fact that he or she doesn't feel that it's cool to be religious, that specific.
Who doesn't say that, Islam isn't cool? Islam is the coolest thing if we really understand it and apply it properly. We have this notion that if you're practicing, then you're away from society, you spend all day and night on worship, on understanding what's happening. If you're practicing, then you can be absorbed in this society. You can be the best in your career, the best in your profession. You can do so much for your own health, your wealth, your family. You can be the best. Your clothes, everything can be modern and relevant for this society. And you can really be the best in what you can do. It's because we don't understand, how we can contextualize Islam in this country, that we perceive Islam as old-fashioned and not relevant. Islam really is the coolest thing, and we've got to try, as British Muslims, make it relevant in this society.
And also Islam is about fun. You can't have fun being a Muslim. Come on. I don't know what you can have fun with. I had fantastic fun growing up. Very good fun. You want to know, if you know what I've done when I was young, without compromising my faith, your eyes will roll a bit. When I was 17, I said to my father, I'm going out for a scout trip to Nottingham. He said, fine, no problem, go. And I went with a group of Muslims. And one of the presents I got for being a good scout was, I jumped up to the plane with the parachute on my back. My father, when he heard it, he goes, oh my God, how do we survive that? But he didn't say no to it. He encouraged me, he said, if this is what is given to you and you earned it, try it. When I was a student, I walked, I've hiked, I've hitchhiked all of Europe. I've kayaked, canoe and kayak from Romania to the west of Vienna to be 2 weeks. You can have lots of fun, you can travel. I have never compromised my faith. Why should I compromise? I can retain my faith as close to my heart as possible. And I can be a fun, loving, thrilling, good, exciting Muslim. Very modern. Why can't we be that? Those who say you can't be, they have misunderstood that.
A lot of people associate colour with Islam. Racism is widespread in Wales. How do you propose we deal with this in our everyday lives?
I think the first thing that we need to do is tackle the racist attitudes that we have in our families. Many of us, we call, the non-Muslims, the Gora this, the Gora that, the Kafir this, the Kafir that. And these are the first things that are making us, away from our society. We have to change these attitudes first amongst our own people. And in our society, skin color is so important that, especially for girls, the more fairer you are, it's perceived as a good thing. And, we have to change these attitudes amongst our families. And, I think, especially with the older generation, etc., we have to sometimes speak with them with patience and with love and try and tackle some of these issues. And we also have to go out into wider society and change those perceptions. When I was at school, when I was 13, they asked us if we wanted to do voluntary work. they said that there's a white old lady in Bradford. She's blind and she needs 2 people to help her with the daily shopping every week. So myself and another friend of mine went. We were both wearing hijab, and we went. And we made very, very good friends with this blind woman. She didn't know that we were first of all Pakistani, and secondly that we were Muslims. And she said, look, she's going. She couldn't hear properly as well, so she called me Sylvie for some strange reason. And we went to a local shop, and she goes, look, Sylvie, this shop's been taken over by Pakistanis. It's really like, everything's changed around it and everything. And I was like, how do I say this? And she didn't realize, and it was only after a few weeks later that I said to her that, look, I'm Pakistani and I'm Muslim, and she was completely bewildered because we'd become very, very close. And, and it's those kind of attitudes. And in my area of work, every day, as I said, I meet non-Muslims from all areas of life. And in terms of how, I know I've seen it in front of me, so many non-Muslims have come and said, you've really changed, our perceptions of Muslim people, and especially Muslim women. And again, we have to be really open about the issues around racism as well. Muslim women, we know how to have fun as well. When I was young, I used to go regularly, dry skiing and traveling around the world as well. And one of the things that really shaped my views was when I went to Poland and I went to Auschwitz, the Jewish concentration camp. And when I saw the ovens and the gas chambers and the big museums where they have, the actual hair and glasses and clothes of the people that died in the Holocaust, that really made me change my views about, racism and again how I perceive, Israeli people and how I perceive Zionists. So I think we really need to be open about some of the racist attitudes that are out there.
We are also racist internally, which has been touched on. Internally within Muslim communities, we discriminate against different nationalities. I remember when an Afro-Caribbean brother who wanted to marry a Bangladeshi sister proposed marriage to the father. The father said, no, of course I'm not having an African man in my family. So eventually the brother was very tired of waiting, so he came to see me and said to me, could you help? So I went to the uncle who was Bangladeshi, and I come from Bangladeshi background, my parents do. So I said to him in a pure Bengali, what's the matter, uncle? Why aren't you allowing your daughter to get married to this very nice man? He said, because he's black. Can you hear it? Bangladeshi man said to me, because he's black. And I said to him, uncle, have you ever looked at the mirror? You're not very white, are you? And it was in a way I said it in Bengali, he couldn't stop laughing. So we had a good rapport, so I dealt with it very quickly and clearly. I said to him, you are so racist internally, you don't even realize. He is a human being, beautiful human being, wonderful characteristics. There's nothing wrong in getting your daughter married to him. If you prevent him from getting married to your daughter, you're being racist. And then the gentleman will ask you a question about being racist. Racism is a great and abhorrent thing that we should eliminate. Arabs don't want to marry the non-Arabs, Pakistanis don't want to marry the non-Pakistanis. This interbreeding is causing destruction, and Rasulullah said, marry far wider apart, because it will help you, enable you, and mutate your genes better. And it is true that we know medical science have said this over and over again. Internal racism is something that we must destroy quicker, and then complain about racism externally. When we talk about non-Muslims being racist towards us, then turn around and say, what about your own racism? We always think, oh, it doesn't matter. Of course it matters.
Next question, Surah, to you. Is it okay to chat to a girl online as you're not actually face to face?
Great. Okay, is it okay to chat to a girl online? I'm assuming chatting on the MSN or all the other chat rooms that are available in the World Wide Web. Well, let me put it this way. If you want to speak to somebody on the other side of the screen, other side of the computer, and whatever you are talking about on the screen, you will need to hide from others seeing it, then that's not good. Are you listening? If you're going to talk, surely, if you're talking the right thing, what's wrong with your family, mother, brother, sister, father seeing it? If you hide it, then that's wrong. Unless, of course, you're a husband and wife. Unless you're a husband and wife, you have no reason to talk in that way that cannot be public. Because that in Islam is privacy. And that privacy and the proximity is not enough. You between a man and a woman, opposite sex, privacy in that manner is not allowed. Prohibited. So, yes, you can talk to a brother or a sister, no problem. As long as your conversation can be heard, and if heard, you will not have to have it. It can be public. As soon as you go public, oh, I'm having a chat with my friend on the internet, but you can't see. Well, my daughter or my son, what is it that you're talking about? I must see it. Of course, naturally, if you're a parent, you'll say the same thing. So, Islam says, it is not, Islam doesn't say you can't. Of course you can talk to your parents. What you talk about is what makes halal halal. If you're going to talk about something that you have to hide, that's halal. If you can talk about everything that is open, that's why I say to parents, do not allow your children to have computers in their room by themselves. Computers must be in the living room so that everyone else can see. Study room must be public. Everyone must be able to come in and out. They should not have a computer to themselves in their room. They're too vulnerable, too young, too malleable, and they could easily be exploited. Number one. Number two, they should not have a television in their room. Television, if you must have one in the house, must be in public, in the living room common space. Everyone should be able to see it. Worse even, allowing them to have television, DVD and video so that they can do anything. You are entrusting the future development of your child's brain and personality on a box and a machine that contains so much rubbish and garbage that you have no control over. Don't be misunderstood. Do not misunderstand me. It is not haram to watch television. I never said that. It is halal. What you watch is haram. And if you leave it to the children who are vulnerable, it is most likely that they could be exploited. So, my advice. They should have access to the internet. They should have a computer, and it should be in a common space, publicly visible, in the sitting room, in the living room, in the study room, open to all. They should not have a television in their room. They should not have DVDs as well, and certainly they should not have those game boxes, that Xboxes that they have, with which they waste their time and their brain. There are, in my view, one of the biggest problems. It doesn't allow the children to develop their brain. According to the scientists of this country, educational experts, they have found out that children up to the age of 5 should not watch any television whatsoever. Up to the age of 5, children should not watch any television. Above the age of 5 to 16 or 14, they should watch only 1 to 1.5 hours of television. And above the age of 16 or 18 or any more, no more than 2 hours a day of television. Any more, you become a couch potato. Any more, you become a vegetable. You and we often do that. Our children are crying, put the telly on, let him watch the cartoon. We fell into that trap as soon as our daughter was born. We thought everyone else is doing it. But we straight away realized how wrong it is, so we shut it down. As long as our daughter is awake, our television is shut down. And I believe, and inshallah I'll try my best, she will not have to watch television. We'll keep her amused and entertained with other things. So please, do not allow your children to be exposed and be left by themselves in such an environment where they could be exploited. To sum up, yes, they should be allowed access to the internet. You should have a filter in your internet so that the sites that are not acceptable and immoral are blocked off, and the internet must be accessed from an open public room. You should not have television, DVDs in their own room privately. You should be in a public space. Certainly, you should not encourage them to have those game boxes by which they waste their time in playing all the time rather than reading or actually physically going in games.
Is it okay to say salam to a sister? So I take it that.
The answer is yes.
I'll merge the other question with that as well. So it's okay to say salam to a sister and was it vice versa as well. But the other one is how this can possibly lead to the pre-mixing angle and then from there moving further. So
I'll answer the first bit. Yes, you can say salam, plus the rest of the surah.
Okay. Yes, you can say salam. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was to say salam to everybody and anybody. The companion used to say the same. You see, the question our parents are asking is, what happens after salam? Is it a kiss? Is it a shake? Is it a hug? Where does it go? Well, you know where it should go, don't you? It should stop at salam, assalamu alaikum, and that's it. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Move on. What is not allowed in Islam is for a man and a woman to share a private space that is away from the gaze of public. That is not allowed. In public environment, such as here, in this public environment, yes, a brother and a sister can talk to themselves or each other. Not disallowed. Rasul encouraged it. Our mosques should be doing that. One of the reasons why many brothers and many sisters cannot find their suitable partners, potential partners, is because there are no social interactions organized by our masajid where they can come together with their families and their friends. Yes, I might as well carry on. That's another question, so I'm moving on to that. If there are no way our families can organize, how many people do mama? Very few, maybe few. If she's looking for somebody for myself, now it's too late. For my brother, that's also too late. But anyway, what's she going to do? Call a friend, whether it's a mosque or an organization was to bring people together in which is public, supervised by adults, married people, families, where young people could meet one another. It would amazingly transform that crisis that we're facing today. Instead of them going behind your back, dating and going to places, they will be able to meet one another so that they will potentially see if they are suitable for their marriage. Rasul said this to their companions. Because that doesn't happen, also people do it behind the back, in secrecy, and that is not allowed.
Sorry, this question is related to the doctor. I'm going out with a Muslim from school. Okay? I know it's wrong, but I feel that I am too young for marriage, and I don't think my parents will approve anyway. What should I do?
Well, the first question is, if you're not ready to get married, why are you going out with the person? What is the intention of going out with the person? Of course, the company of the opposite sex is very attractive. Inevitable. That's how Allah has made us. Lots of things are attractive in life, but you can't have them. Walking along the road and I saw a Ferrari. Ah, very nice. But too bad. You just have to say it's very nice and move on. You can't have it. That's why Islam puts boundaries. The boundary is, if you are ready for marriage and you want to consider somebody for marriage, it's only under that circumstances you can, in a public space, supervise, can come together to see if you're suitable and explore and consider somebody for marriage. But apart from that, having boyfriends and girlfriends, no. Sorry. Islam doesn't allow. Now, I know some of you will say, oh, that's so strict. Well, imagine what would happen. And look at the society in which we live where all this happens. Teenage pregnancy is at the highest possible in all of Europe is in Britain. Sexually transmitted disease infesting our communities, especially young people. So many problems. And your heart and your emotions are constantly being battered by this man, that woman, that man, left, right and center. You're traumatized by the time you're ready for marriage. You're carrying so much baggage that in the relationship, in the marriage that you're going to enter, is going to affect and cause trouble for that. And that's why Allah wants to make it easy. Allah wants to make it easy. He says, don't even go down that direction. If you are ready for marriage, only consider somebody of the opposite sex for marriage as soon as possible. So simply, brothers and sisters, it is easy to hold on to the family because the opposite sex is very attractive. And it's important for you to consider the consequences. What would happen if you do that? How about the heartache and the pain, the emotions that will come with it? Think about all of that. And relationship that comes with responsibility is not wash and go type of shampoo, you know. I meet somebody and I just go. It's not like that. It's relationship with responsibility. You must be responsible. And for parents, and this is to advice to parents who are here, do not put your children to test by delaying their marriage. As soon as you can, get them married. Allow them to get married. Help them to find the right path. Even if they're not financially sound in this country, help them to become financially sound. If you start thinking about it from now on, you'll do well. For example, if you have a child who was born last year, start saving up. By the time the child is 20, you have enough money to give them a gift here. Here's the money for you, go and get it. You will save them from falling in the head. Don't complain when they have done it. A lot of parents cause trouble for their children by saying, you can only get married to the person from my country, from my village, from my own tribe, must look like me, must eat like me, must dress like me. Or you can't get married unless you've got a job, house, 5 cars, etc. You're making unnecessary problems for your children. You could help by helping them to be responsible, financially aiding them, by opening up the door so that they could find somebody suitable, by you facilitating them coming together. And Rasul said very beautifully, this is the hadith of Rasul. He said, if two people have fallen in love, help them to get married. As opposed to shut the door and kill them and destroy them. That's what some people do. Rasul said, why? Because Islam recognizes that it could be possible that two people of the opposite sex may find each other attractive. Don't let them live in sin. Help them so that they get married. Bring the families together. Don't make difficulties. So in a nutshell, brothers and sisters, free mixing of the opposite sex in an intimate environment is haram. Having boyfriend and girlfriend, unless you want to get married, is not allowed. And even if you are getting married, it must be met in public space so that others can see and not be intimate with one another. It's only by those social restrictions do we preserve and can retain the family values that Islam so strongly espouses.
Next question. Why are women not allowed to pray Eid or Jummah in the mosque? Because we are meant to be
Who says that women are not allowed to pray Jummah prayer or Eid prayer? Of course women can go and pray their prayers in the mosque. The problem is, of course, if our mosques have not opened the doors for us so that we have opportunities and access to the buildings to pray in there. But of course, we are equal members of society, and it's not, in the failings of Islam if we don't have access to our Muslim buildings. It's the failings of us as Muslims if we haven't given the opportunities for Muslim women to participate in the affairs of the mosque. Women should be, attending the Jummah prayers, the Friday prayers. They should also be members of the mosque committee. How can we have members of a mosque committee deciding the affairs of Muslims, but they are not, representatives from the Muslim female population as well? And do we not want our mosques to be the centre of Muslim communities? We want it to be the heart of our communities. I would rather like to go to my mosque and sit with my fellow sisters and chat with them and have a cappuccino there rather than going into Starbucks or anywhere else. But because my mosque doesn't give me the opportunities to do that, I have to go elsewhere. I have to find opportunities and places where I can sit in a safe environment with my sisters and talk to them. Because I've been to the mosque tonight and the doors have been shut to me. The mosque should change, and I hope that the new generation of young people open the opportunities for Muslim women to enter the mosques, and more importantly, allow women to participate in the life and the decisions of the mosques as well.
Rasul said in his saying, let your man and woman and children, even women who are praying, come to the masjid on Eid prayer. He said this is an order from Rasul. On Eid prayer, man, woman and children, all must come to the masjid or place of prayer, even if they are not praying, and take part in the celebration. Many of our masajids do Eid prayer with men. Where do you get that from? Jum'ah, of course. The sisters should bring children, man should bring their children, the whole family. There's a gathering of families. I 100% agree with Sabine. And it's the problem with us men. Sorry brothers, it's us, we're the problem. Unless we clean up our act and open up the doors of the mosque, we lose half of our population. Very soon. We need to do that as soon as possible.
In the media, they quote in the Quran says we are not allowed to make friends with Christians. Now you make that point. Is this true? I.e., everyone has it, and what is that? It's been asked again, maybe probably before.
The question is very simple. Are we allowed to make friends with Muslims? Are we allowed to make friends with Christians and the Jews? Yes, we are. Quran doesn't say we can't. What it says is we cannot think them as awliya. Awliya means intimate protectors, especially in the situations of war. The verse of the Quran that we're talking about was revealed during the time of Uhud, just before and after Uhud, which relates to the war situation. And in the war situation, those who have declared war against you, you surely don't make them your friend. That's all this means. And we're not in war, at war with our fellow Christians in this country, or with a Jewish people in this country. So that isn't something that we should even consider. In the Quran, it's clear. In the Quran, Allah says, for example, in the Quran talks about war. In the Quran, Allah talks about situations that if we arrive, then we deal with. We're not in that situation. So, yes, Quran says we cannot take them intimate protectors in situations of war. But it doesn't say we can't take them as friends. In fact, it encourages them. Rasulullah used to have non-Muslim friends. Khadija's friends were all non-Muslims. Rasulullah used to continue the friendship even after her death. So we know from the Quran and the Sunnah that friendship with non-Muslims isn't prohibited, it's in fact encouraged. And for us in this country, I make it very clear to you, in this country, where we are minority, only 2% of the total population, we must make friendship with non-Muslims. So that we can share in our good practice. If you believe in Allah's word to be so good, why don't you want to share it? You can't share it unless you're friends. Please make good friendship with Muslims so that they can see the beauty of Islam, your generosity, your kindness, your compassion, and most importantly, maybe consider Islam.
Now, this is the question and answer session. Okay? And we're going to move on to the next topic. Now, I know it's a long session. This is funny. So when you something slightly different now. Stand again. Enough again. Stand up again. And this time, what we'll do is the brother next to you, yeah, can you gently massage his shoulders? And the next one, can you massage his legs? Can you give him a nice relaxing massage? Can you do that hand? Can you put your hand on the shoulders? Can you massage this? Give him a nice massage. Okay, we've had the hugs and we've had a nice massage. I'm really pleased that was one best. Now, the next we're going to have the deal, the women through the sheets.